Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. SaskTel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
I had it for a few seconds. All right, looks like we're up and ready to go with you here. Welcome to the SaskTel Curling Stadium Martensville SaskTour Series. It's playoffs here on Sunday. My name's Shawn Joyce. Ryan Jacques joining me.
How's it going, Shawn?
It's going okay. I just got back from Calgary last night. I haven't had a chance to jump onto any of these games yet, but I did see a little bit of the footage.
Good. Well, you're in for a treat.
And I've been watching
today. Good one.
Watching line scores as well on curlingzone.com from a number of different spiels. So I knew that we weren't going to see Steve Laycock in this game, even though it is his team that's playing here in this quarterfinal action. Steve Laycock also plays doubles with Nancy Martin. Nancy's women's team is playing at Martensville, at Sutherland here in Saskatoon, and Steve Laycock playing in Martensville. But the two of them are playing doubles in Colorado right now, and you can't have subs in doubles, so I knew those two had to be in Colorado, and I'm just trying to get a peek at this would be their substitute. And of course, he's got a hat on, so can't get a good look at him yet, but we'll figure out who it is before the game's over. Two teams here this morning got an early start of it. Steve Laycock having qualified through the Laycock team having qualified through the A event, playing against Kohsuke Hirata, and I apologize for all the names I'm going to mispronounce this morning. I think I got Laycock right. The Hirata team started out with two quick losses and then rattled off three in a row to come through the C event, and a couple of those were convincing wins. They had two shutout wins, which is rare. So obviously they bounced back very quickly after a tough start. And I believe Laycock, simply by virtue of being the higher seed, has the last rock here in the opening end of play. We're on third stones right now. Shawn Meacham, normally the third, skipping the game. Nice shot there.
That's quite off.
Rattles through, catches the third one, and now all of a sudden the Laycock team sitting two. Now Shawn Meacham, normally the third, skipping the game. Nice shot there.
That's
off.
Quite
Rattles through, rattling through and making contact with the one in the forefoot. Actually passed it by the red stone at the back as well.
Sounds like we've got Braden Stewart in for Steve Laycock today.
That could be. Braden did formerly play with this team. He's, I believe, in Brandon now. Not positive of that. And when he left, that allowed an opening for Braden Grindam to join the team. He's the lead. Boy, this really curling. They're not going to get the roll the direction they wanted. This is going to pop out into the open. Shawn Meacham won't want to take a chance of rolling back under that guard and perhaps seeing Hirata try to freeze to it or get the roll back in behind the corner. He's just going to try to roll to the open side.
Or I believe this is the... Oh, no, there's two more.
No, we got... Yeah, we should have...
There we go.
Oh, yeah, Ryan's running too many jobs this morning. He's got the replays going. He's got the rock counter going. And, of course, we started this end in progress. Boy, they were... maybe they've been watching some of the recent events on Curling Stadium and have noticed that on Championship Sunday, all it takes is one game to go to an extra end, and then the rest of the draw is late. So they've started this quite early. We're just at the scheduled start time now. Looking for some curl here. They want to hang around. Not going to. Now that stone that's left in the rings, it's partially behind cover, but definitely enough room for Hirata to go after it. The question is whether or not he can stick around.
And especially in the first end, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not too fussed about sticking around. Just make it go away and take the ball into the thinking. Pretty good outcome for that beautiful shot earlier in the end.
Looks like from the hacks you can probably see about 3/4. And certainly we saw in his last attempt, there's plenty of curl. These rocks being used in Martensville, brand new this year. Big weight, but still tight enough by the guard. He is able to hang on, it looks like, for a bite at the edge of the 12.
Oh my, that's just off the board too. That's a tough blank. Probably got to play into it and try to roll all the way across the house, because if you play the other way, you're flirting with running into that board.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And you say play into it, but I mean, Shawn Meacham throws the upweight so hard. I'm not entirely sure he's not throwing the intern with this ice. He is.
Let's see what he's got here.
Makes the hit, and even with the intern, enough action to go all the way across the rings out of play. Well, a bit of an early start, but at game time, still no score. We'll be playing the second end when we come back from the break.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
What you got? You got one, you got two, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock, and still miss. But it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
These two teams in this quarterfinal matchup here on Sunday morning playing like they've got somewhere to go. They got a quick first end in, already underway in second. Center guard was thrown up, but it looks to be just off the center line, so not in the no-tick zone. Shawn Meacham asking Braden Grindam to make the come around. Grindam is the lead on the team. The second, Chris Heichert. The substitute playing third, Braden Stewart, who did formerly play with this team. And Shawn Meacham skipping in place of Steve Laycock playing doubles, and I believe he might be on the ice right now in Colorado. And for Kohsuke Hirata, the lead is Yoshia Miura. Ryota Megura plays second. The third is Shingo Yusui. And the skip in the house, Kohsuke Hirata. And apologies again for all the names I mispronounce. This is my first look actually in the last couple of years. I haven't seen the Hirata team before. Looking to come down and sit on the face. It's a few feet short, but the line is good. Does give room for Braden Grindam to get underneath that blue stone, though. Nothing out of the brushers yet. This is out there a bit. Sweeping for curl now. Lots of room by that stone at the top of the 12. They actually switched back to going straight. They're going to go by their own stone. Might have just touched it on the way by enough to straighten it out. Sits second shot at the back of the forefoot. I do think if Meguro can sit right on the face of it, he would be shot rock.
Certainly not the ideal position for that. Red Rock's not coming any closer to the beaten blue.
Definitely tighter line coming in. He might be able to corner freeze the top one. And he does. That's a pretty good spot. Not shot rock yet, but queued up on the corner of that red stone and in front of the tee line. Chris Eichert looking to come in and change the angles in there. He's going to need to jiggle things a little bit. Pretty good. He did move his stone out from being shot rock, but really you were going to have to change the angles. And it's important to hit that hard enough that he didn't leave the angle on his shooter and the blue stone just lined up to jam. And he did move the blue one far enough over that if you get a chance to play the red onto the blue, it clears the red stone at the back of the forefoot.
We got a battle of the angles here, that's for sure.
Yeah. You see that a lot nowadays in the Five Rock. There'll be both teams jockeying for position early in the end, see if they can get the angle set up, and then you might see some runbacks later on in the end. All the teams nowadays are so good at that shot. It's a shot they practice. You know, I'm from a little older generation than you, Ryan, and in our days when we played a runback, you were just happy if you made contact with the rock in the rings. Nowadays, if they don't stick it when they run it back, they're not happy. It's just it's a different level of they play that shot so much more. The equipment helps. I mean, the rocks we used to play with, the striking bands were a little bit dead, let's call it. These are brand new stones here in Martensville. I saw a couple of videos of playing from the weekend and talking about just how lively the rocks are. We saw it once already this end, or in the first end, with that triple that was made, jiggled between two rocks, caught one in the house, and everything left the rings. You can't make those shots with dead stones. Makes a double peel. Now the 3 stones in the 4-foot all exposed.
Hirata's got to be careful here, especially without hammer. Those red ones are building up in the 8-foot there.
Yeah, there's a double to be made on the reds. It might even catch all 3 of them. The problem with playing the straight back double, it's a little risky. If you ever over curl, you're killing your own stone off the side of the button.
Right, yeah.
Looked like he was gesturing maybe we play the slash double. I have to think it'd be hard to hold the shooter with that one, but...
Yeah, not sure you could stick around. I guess we'll see what weight they're throwing at this one.
This is the one situation where player mics wouldn't help me anyway because I don't speak Japanese, but you go by the gestures and it looks like he was gesturing that he thinks they can make the double and hang the shooter on the edge of the 8-foot somewhere. So I can't imagine they're going to throw this real hard.
Really nice result.
Yeah. Inside brusher down right away. That usually indicates they're trying to hold the line. I think he's going to have the port. Yeah. I'm not convinced he had the right read on the angle that he needed to hit, because he did hit and roll to the edge of the 8-foot, but that was too thick to catch that second red stone.
Yeah.
I think if he's going to... And really, they swept it like that was the piece they were trying to hit. Gives the Laycock team a chance to hit and roll behind cover. The only hesitation they're going to have here is all 3 red stones will be behind the tee line. You might like to over-roll the guard if you could, but that's tough. He doesn't have a ton of room there. Rolls into his own stone. He doesn't have to move it very far before it's not third. Going to make the hit on the blue. Does come into his own stone, nudges it a little bit, but stays sitting 3.
Well, I really like that result.
Yeah.
There's not a huge pocket in there. You could have rolled right between those 2 reds, and then Team Hirata has a huge wall to draw down to.
Yeah.
Now they have to be a little more precise.
And the shooter would have been behind the guard too, so he doesn't even need to make the freeze as perfect, because if he buries a piece and he's in front of 3, how do you get it out?
Exactly. Yeah.
As it is, if he makes the roll in behind, it looks like with the amount of curl on this ice, and again, I apologize, this is my first game that I've seen. I've seen a few highlight shots here and there, but it looks like there's enough curl with quiet weight. Even at a stone at the top of the 12-foot, they can come by with enough weight to move it. He might be better off to hit this right on the nose and stay in front of the... Just jam the one red and stay in front of the other one. That looks like that's what they're trying to do, but he's a little off on the broom side.
Well, it's not the worst. Like I just said, I was worried about a pocket being set up. Well, there's your pocket in the back 4 now.
Yeah, the pocket's there, but if Braden Stewart can make the hit and roll in front now, he'd be in front of the tee line.
For sure. Yeah. If he makes this, he's golden.
drawn early for holding it straight, and then it maybe a little more weight than they thought was coming, or overbrushed it, holding it straight. It gets the hit, stays right there. Hirata doesn't seem to be looking at the draw at all. Now they're starting to maybe look at it. His first thought was to go after the double, which, you know, nice if you can make it, but you're still giving up 2 if you make it, and it's not the world's easiest double.
Yeah, my first one there for sure came to a little bit of a halt.
You do need to make sure you're right down to the red stones if you're playing this draw. If you're up in front of the tee line, he's got the red at the side of the 8-foot he could slash into it. He's also got that blue at the side of the 8-foot on the other side. He could come off it and play a double. So you have to get right into the pocket of these 2 reds.
For sure, yeah.
And keep in mind, there's that invisible stone at the top of the 12-foot, blue handles and a blue rings. There's a stone in the 12-foot that it's a little hard to see for us, but
it is. Yeah, it sure blends in there.
Yeah, and he's got to get by that if he's getting to those 2 reds, and he'd have to flirt with it to get to the corner of the second shot rock. Crushers were cleaning early, but that you don't have to understand Japanese to understand that hand signal. They maybe think it's a little on the warm side. It's coming in nicely now. He's to the inside of the shot rock. Doesn't want to jiggle it.
Oh.
Didn't move it much, but there might
they
be
can
room.
Squeeze it through there.
Yeah, even if they move one or both of the red ones for that matter. Might only have to move one of them. Looks like Shawn's thinking, throw enough weight to get the blue one through there, rattling it off at least one of the reds. The other option you could do is just throw heavy draw. Come to the 3/4 center line side of that red. Jiggle both reds so that you know you can pass the blue through there on the next attempt, because he's still got that blue on the outside. If he's queued up on that corner, Hirata's still going to have to do something about it, because he's got that stone he could come off of, and it
totally
would be for a pile of points. But I think if he's convinced that he can get it through there, that's the call. And it looks like they think it's only going to rattle off the one and then go back. I have to think with that broom, he's thinking at least hack weight. On the brush early to hold it straight.
Looking pretty close.
Yeah. You might see them switch once they're sure they're by the blue at the top. Catches it, rattles it off the side of the red, and holds all 4 reds.
That is just a beautiful shot. I love how he managed to separate the reds too. So now
absolute surgery.
Not a natural pocket. Hirata can still get a good blue rock in there. He frees right on the center line, but it's a lot more precise than it was.
Great.
Looking pretty close.
Yeah. You might see them switch once they're sure they're by the blue at the top. Catches it, rattles it off the side of the red, and holds. Don't know whether they're looking. That's what I'm looking at. He's looking at the hit now. You're not trying to save the shooter if you're making this hit. There could be a triple. The top red to the center line side of the one right behind it. Have it come across, and it might double out the 2 reds on the other side. The first one you're going to hit is going to just jam in there, but you could certainly kill 2 and you might get 3. Any kind of draw you play, this game could be over in 2 ends.
Yeah, the draw is kind of all or nothing, like you said there.
Well, and where do you put it? Because Shawn's got the red stone at the in front of the tee line on the 8 foot that you can run in depending on how you're angled. And if you're angled the other way, he's got the blue he can come off of. It's real tough to make a solid freeze where he can't make a play on it somehow or another.
I agree with you, Shawn. I think I definitely lean towards some sort of hit to just keep this game going, even if you give up 3 here.
Well, and you know what? There is a triple there. I don't know whether he looked at it or not. He looked at playing it. Almost looked like he was looking at a slash double. But I think if you hit it right, you'll get 2 for sure, and you might get the third one.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to get 2 of them on that side. Almost any way you hit it.
Yeah, I don't even know if, because of the angle that you're coming in, I don't know if there'd even be a hole between the reds. Like, you'd have to be pretty unfortunate to jam something. This surprises me that he's just going to play the... I thought when he put the broom down here, I thought he was playing the double the other way.
Yeah.
He's looking to hit and roll behind cover, which he made.
Yeah.
Great, but Shawn's got... This is for 3 at least.
He'll probably just go for the 3 here.
With that broom, he's throwing enough weight. He's not holding the shooter in the 8 foot.
Yep.
It would be tough with any weight, but with hack, you might be able to do it. So final stone, second end, Shawn Meacham. Chance to play the short angle slash on his own stone. If he could stick it, it's for 3. Sweeping for curl all the way down. He's a little thin on the first one. Catches the second one. Spins across to the back of the 4 foot, but does hang around. Put 3 points on the board for the Laycock team. They'll take the 3-0 lead after 2 ends of play. It'll be Hirata with the last rock when we come back for the third.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Shawn, Joyce, Ryan, Jacques with you here from the SaskTel Curling Stadium, Martensville SaskTour Series. It is the playoffs here on Sunday. Quarterfinal action this morning. Be back on the ice at, I think it's 12:30 local time for semifinals, and the final scheduled for 3:30. Steve Laycock's team qualified through the A. Hirata through the C. So they come in here on a bit of a roll, but down 3 now after the little slash by Shawn Meacham in the last end to pick up his 3. And still, you give up 3, and if you're Hirata, you almost have to chance to play the short angle slash on his own stone. If he could stick it, it's for 3. Sweeping for curl all the way down. He's a little thin on the first one. Catches the second one. Spins across to the back. First stone of this end brought into the 4-foot. The corner guard went up. Now the third stone of the end comes into the top of the 8-foot. And this is we talked a little bit already about setting up the angles and how things start in these ends. And this is a pretty common script when a team gets ahead. Throw the first 2 in the middle into the rings. You know that eventually, you don't know when necessarily, that Hirata could have opted to throw a second corner guard here. He's going to make a play on the 2 reds in the rings, but that's why they throw those 2 in the rings. You know that eventually the other team's going to have to make a play on them, and you're hoping that leaves you a rock you might be able to double later on, and that's how you play defense in the 5 rock. You can't stop him from throwing that corner guard, but you can kind of make it so that he doesn't get a chance to use it by making him play somewhere else. Boy, this is really starting to curl. They got to hold the line or they might clip their own. Great job by the brushers. Does pass it by the red stone in the 4-foot, just biting the button. Pulls the shooter on the center line too. Boy, this is really starting to curl. They got to hold the line or they might clip their own. Meguro looking to make the hit on that stone in the 12-foot originally. They opted to go after the one on the side of the 4-foot, which they could just see all of it. Would have liked to roll behind the corner, but stays in the open. They changed the shot call while we were in the replay. Chris Eichert now will go after that blue stone, and he'd like to roll back under the stone at the top of the 12-foot if he could. It's all cat and mouse at an end like this. They hit and stay right there. Hirata would like to get the play in behind the corner. Meacham wants to keep the play away from the corner. Another chance here for Ryota Magura to try to roll behind the corner. They're waiting on the curl here. Gets to the nose, even with that quiet weight, not able to get quite across the face. And again stays open. Now decision time for Shawn Meacham. If you try to roll back behind your own stone at the top of the 12-foot now, you actually could leave a double and the roll behind the corner. There you see the indication. We better roll way over to the open side. He wants to keep the play away from that guard. Braden Stewart with the throw. Braden Grindham looking to help it curl over. I thought maybe they had overcurled that, but he does roll well over to the 8-foot on the other side. And it is shot rock, well away from the corner. Shingo Usui looking to hit and roll, this time underneath the redstone at the top of the 12-foot. this looks like the line's close. Makes the hit with that quiet weight, passes it through the back, and does roll in behind the red stone, a little tucked out, a little peeked out in the open, but when you're rolling behind the opposition stone, they might be happier with that. If you roll dead in behind and they make this run back and stick it, it's buried. If they stick the run back now, likely you can see shot rock. Sweeping for curl once again. Braden looked like he had a little trouble on the delivery that time, a little wobble. So might have ended up just a little bit full, makes contact with the red, but drives it by the blue stone and loses the shooter. So this is the chance that Hirata was looking for, to come around that corner guard and try to get his deuce here in the second end at least. Good timing for them too. If you're trying to get two, you're coming in on third's last stone. Not a lot of time for Shawn Meacham to get out of this.
It sure is. Yeah. Looking like a good setup here.
Yeah, you just dare not be deep on this and give him a double off that shot stone.
Yeah.
Well, the weight was good. They didn't bury quite as much as they might have liked. The double would be real thin. Shawn took a look at it. I think they're going to make the play on shot rock, though.
Draw come around like that's having trouble coming over. So will even a soft weight takeout. So playing it safe here, which fair enough. You could consider playing a lighter weight hit and roll. And just try to flop on top of the rock button there.
Yeah.
But this is the simpler shot. Keep them to 2, maintain your lead, and see what you can do in the next end.
You do have to get the roll here. If you ever nose this, Hirata gets a chance to roll underneath, and then your last shot, you can see half of that rock.
Yeah, that is true.
This is in danger of rolling too far. Make the hit, but he does roll all the way out of the rings. Just hangs around in the back. Just a rock to be tripped over now. This is Hirata with a choice, and he really didn't think about this long at all. He's going to split the rings, take his chance for 2. Yusui seeing the... Yusui looking at, we could try for 3. He's going to go down.
See that pass. I don't
he's
mind
going to go down.
Go.
You did just play it. You had a ton of room by the guard.
No, it is a long game ahead, but obviously much better to get 3, tie it right back up. So. But of course, the risk is you leave a double and then you lose everything. Now we've got to blame. I don't mind giving it a go here.
No, they have the advantage, if you want to call it that, in this format where they've already played 5 games, so they've seen the ice a little bit more, probably seen more draws to the corner. Even Laycock's team played 3 to qualify. There's been a couple of events early on just because of buys and situations and triple knockouts where sometimes teams only have to play 2 to qualify. So those event qualifiers can maybe not be as in tune to the ice as they'd like to be. These guys, and again, I haven't seen the draw. They've probably already played on this sheet. It's only a 4-sheet facility, and they've played 5 games. So they've likely played on it. They all run pretty similar in Martensville. New rocks, they're going to curl some.
I wonder if this event gave practice to the A qualifiers. Some events like to do that just to give them an opportunity to stay fresh, stay in touch with the ice.
And that I can't speak to. I didn't see the draw. I could probably look it up. But the SaskTour doesn't run a full triple. They try to run a modified triple, so you're not necessarily guaranteed 3 losses. I would imagine the A qualifiers were still, they might still have been yesterday morning. They could have been Friday night. Comes down, taps his own stone. Would have liked to get just across the face. If he could have got just across the face with that tap back, he could have kind of Christmas treed them all. Shawn still can't see a lot of the stone at the top of the 12-foot. Can't see any of the one in the 8-foot. He's thinking about the corner freeze. Hasn't really looked at the hit at all.
Yeah, if it's not curling enough for that takeout, it's not going to curl much for the angle freeze either. You got to loop it partially around that top 12 blue. This is a precise shot.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess there's no easy shot here.
Well, yeah, I mean, you might be able to pick the one out of the top 12, but I mean, doesn't look like they think it's going to curl enough to have any shot at the double.
Yeah. Some teams might even give that run back a go to see if you can blast 2, maybe even all of them if you get the perfect angle.
Separated Stewart with the other three discussing it at the other end. He gave them the broom gesture to show how far apart the 2 rocks are in the house. I don't know whether half a rock would catch the second one or not. A thick half, call it 5/8 or something like that, should hit it for sure, but I don't know if you can see that much from the hacks.
Yeah, it doesn't quite look like half to me either there. This is probably the easiest shot.
Well, he looks to be throwing it with quite enough weight that he's looking for curl. That makes it a little trickier. Like, you could always put the broom down, 3 inches away from the stone and whip it down there, just pick the top one out.
Right.
If it's that straight, as long as you don't set it, you should be okay. This much ice and this kind of weight, he's looking for some curl, trying to get the double. And early sweeping for curl already. He's going to be lucky to make contact with the top one. Clips it. Enough to get it out.
I guess it's a trade-off between more weight you throw, you got to get closer to the guard, less weight.
Yeah, for sure.
It's harder to remove it, but you get that extra curl past the guard. Yeah, but like you said, Shawn, you could have just whipped it down there.
Yeah, and Shawn Meacham is very good at that too. So, I wouldn't have had a doubt in my mind if he decided to throw it. It's just I think the double was impossible if you whipped it because they were counting. You needed some curl past the guard to have a chance.
For sure. Yeah.
Means that here with his final stone in the third end, Kohsuke Hirata a chance to pick up 2. Just needs any piece of the ring. He's going to throw the exact same draw he just threw. Rusher's just cleaning it across the hog line. Come down, sit right on the corner of his own stone. 2 points on the board for Hirata. Everybody on the board now. The Laycock team with a 3-2 lead, and they will have last rock in the 4th.
I don't remember a time. when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
SaskTel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? We award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and prevent bullying. What great idea do you have to help stop bullying? SaskTel can help. Go to BeKindOnline.com and apply for a grant today. Together, we can make a difference.
Center guard throwing up to start things here in the fourth end. It is on the center line, so in the no-tick zone. Braden Grindham looking to come around it. Nice line by the guard. The rusher's not touching it. They're in danger of sliding behind the tee line here, and it does. And more or less out into the open. I guess there's a piece of it still behind cover. I think they were hoping against hope it was going to stop there. That's almost one of those stones where once you knew it was behind the tee line, you might have been better off to put it in the back eight if you could.
Yeah, I agree there. They lock one down, not going anywhere without a blast.
It's so easy to get caught on a rock like that where you're hoping it's going to stop in front of the tee line, and when it comes to rest, you're thinking, yeah, we should have swept that back.
Yep.
Not able to get right down to the face, but he is dead buried, biting the top of the forefoot. It's a pretty good spot for Miura. Now with Braden's first stone coming that deep and poking out into the open, if he's going to corner freeze that blue stone and protect the shot stone at the back, he's got to come from the other turn this time. And they're on the brush on this one. This one's curling.
I heard top 12 from the sweepers. It's not going to cut it.
Boy, how often you see that in the course of a season. A guy slides a foot deep on his first shot and then overcompensates on the next one and ends up, in this case, with a center guard. Early advantage here in this fourth end is to Hirata, even though the Laycock team's sitting shot rock. Just rubs that stone out in front. Actually gets a little spin at the end.
Ooh, and I think Laycock can get that inside roll. If they can roll it behind that red one, they're in a good spot.
He can get the inside roll for sure. I'm trying to decide whether he can get to the second blue myself. It looks like Shawn thinks. And again, you'd have to whip it to do that, and you're not looking to get the second blue one necessarily all the way out. If you just pop it out in the open, that's a pretty good shot. He doesn't have a ton of air by the first one, but it's probably there. You got to get by the red, though. Not going to.
Oh. Well, it's not the end of the world. You know, he wants the center to be open anyways. It hurts. It's almost like two wasted shots. You throw up that guard and then you peel it off.
Yeah.
Unfortunate start.
It's still not a cut and dry situation for Hirata either, though. You can't really just guard the second shot. You don't want to throw a guard yourself that far off the center line. He's actually looking at making a play on shot rock now. If you do that, there's going to be a double. Setup. Yeah, there'll be a double on the top two left for sure, and depending where you roll, could be a triple.
Maybe a similar shot that we saw in the first end where you come off the backside and take a triple that way.
Half of the heel is usually hack weight in any language. Boy, that doesn't look like a lot of ice for hack, just the way we saw those last couple of rocks curl in this spot. This one curling as well. He's got to get by not just the guard, but also his own stone on the top of the rings, not getting by the guard.
At least it rolled into the house. That might be the rock that ends up forcing Laycock later on.
You make the double here, you'd be close to getting all three of them, though. Might be a little thick on the first one. Nope, catches it, but jams it onto that third stone. So the Laycock team sitting shot, biting the back of the button. It is the blue stone belonging to Hirata at the side of the 8-foot that's second. That one just delivered. The top of the 8 is third, but it's in a pretty good spot for the Laycock team. We're on to third stones now here in the fourth end. Shingo Usui looking to make the play on shot stone now. They would like to roll behind their own guard. This has got some curling to do.
Shawn, what do you think? Is that double too flat? Or can you push that blue just enough to sit two?
Yeah, you want to come off the one on the center line first. I think it's an easier double if you could come off the other one. The problem is your redstone's in the way for that, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but it won't look good from the hacks.
Well, good news, there's lots of time in the end. They don't have to make that double just yet.
Well, and they may not. They may never have to because the angle's good to play the red onto the blue later on. You can roll both of them towards center. Yeah. So what they're looking at is try to roll behind the corner guard, and there's not going to be a double on the reds. Hirata won't be able to play it because he'd have to jam it on his own stone. They're looking at playing that red slash onto the blue right now, and the reason they're doing that is they could get one higher up in the rings behind the corner guard and still potentially leave a double later on.
Yeah, it would be a good result. Looks like they're sticking with the simple hits here.
My wish list for Jerry when he's listening is I need a telestrator. When you start looking at the angles, especially later on in these ends in the free guard, there's so many possibilities.
Yep.
It's actually quite interesting to watch because I've talked about this in other broadcasts with other people that I've been talking with. I'm a little older myself. I'm 57. When I used to play, a lot of times, especially before the free guard zone, there was only one real choice as to what shot you were going to play. Now, because of all the angles and the shots that teams are able to play with the equipment that they're using, there's often more than one shot, and it's always interesting to see how different teams will approach the same situation.
For sure.
You certainly saw the Meacham team go through a number of options there, and they're all good if you make them. It's which one do you feel best about, which one suits us the best. It's really interesting to watch how the teams approach it. Boy, they really want to get the roll this time. I think if you nose hit it again, it's up high enough to play the double. And they didn't get the roll in behind, and definitely there's room to get that double now. Now you see Shawn even gesturing, it'd be nice if we only moved it about a rock's width. Now he's getting greedy. He wants to make the hit, roll across, touch the second stone, stay corner frozen on it, and only move it a rock's width.
Yeah.
That's great if you make it. It's a perfect shot. Now you're getting greedy. That's a lot to ask for one rock.
It sure is.
Needs to come up a little bit to make sure he gets the second one.
Ooh.
Just behind it. All the teams very well aware of how good their opponents are playing angles, and you saw the gesture there from, and I believe that's Usui in the house, with the hat. So he's the vice, but they have to be careful when they come around this blue stone, because there's always the slash on the red and have the shooter come across and play the double. So if you're going to play the come around, you got to be careful how deep you are. You don't want to leave it where he could play the slash red onto the blue that's already there and have the shooter come across and take the one that you're about to put into the rings.
Absolutely. As they say, it's not what you make, it's what you leave.
Yeah. So this is, they're lining that one up to try to figure out, okay, we can't be right here, so where do we have to be? And you also still have to be careful. I mean, if you're deep behind the tee line, for instance, Shawn Meacham has last rock here. He could just decide, well, I'm just going to come down to you with my first one and draw with the second one for a deuce. So
for sure. Yep.
He doesn't, as much as it looks like he's got a shot here to just draw a sit two, it's not as simple as that. He's got to put this in a very precise spot.
And if this was a tied game, you might see them just hit the red one, try to roll a little bit towards center, but being down one, he wants to put a little more pressure on Laycock here.
Definitely would like to at least get the force here. Probably part of the consideration in not hitting that red too is it's hard to hit the red and not leave a double, because you can't roll very far towards the center without risking the jam. If you leave the double, there's a chance that it's a blank, and
exactly,
he doesn't want that. You make a good draw here, there's still a chance. I mean, as much as the center line's not covered, Shawn's always going to have the button available, but you could get a good piece of the 4-foot here. Steel's not out of the question. This one's running a little straighter than what we've seen so far this end coming this direction. They waited as long as they could, then they had to go for weight, and it's not going to get there. Well, sort of the same issue here for Shawn Meacham. It's not just a question to run down to the hacks, hit this stone, and sit two somewhere. You have to be careful not to leave an easy double.
And you ever play that slash that you were talking about earlier? It rolls to a nice spot.
Yeah, like that's the best result. They're looking at it now. It's just, it's the best result, and it's not any more difficult than trying to hit and roll the blue onto a precise spot. It just goes so much against your nature to risk hitting your own stone. What if you don't hit the second one at all? Now, that's not going to happen very often with the level of players that we're talking about here, but it's hard to get past the psychological block on that. Looks like what they've decided to do is play the hit and roll a rock's width towards the outside. So you're not rolling to a very big piece of ice here. If you roll too far, that stone at the top of the 12-foot is the second shot.
And if he knows it, the double's queued up and that blue's going to roll right under cover. Now you're drawing against two.
Yeah.
Path you might not have played yet.
And they opted not to roll behind the center because, of course, that would open up other possibilities.
Yep.
This is curling on them, though. They're rolling behind center now. Ends up rolling dead in behind his own stone. Well, that should leave a double and roll behind cover. He'll have to throw some weight because you have to hit the first one fairly thick if you're not going to over-roll the guards. You could also just try to make the double a little bit on the board side. You won't roll behind cover, but you make sure you sit two. Looks like with that broom, he's going to go for the double in the roll. You got to hit it fairly thick because of the weight you're going to throw here. Can't afford to jam the first one, and also if you're a little thin on the first one, you might still make the double, but if you roll out, it's a blank opportunity. Hirata with his final stone looking for the double. Makes the double. Gets the roll. Maybe
That's
just
a pretty nice roll. I don't know if he's going to chase that one. He's probably just going to play that old draw.
Yeah, he'll play the straight draw. I think he would have, even if he leaves it lined up for the double, it's a little risky to go after the double for a blank end.
Yeah, it's playing with fire if you go for that. I don't know if the blank would be worth it. Worth risking a steal like that.
Yeah, as much as you'd love to keep last rock. It is the even end, so, it's scoring one in the even end's not the worst thing. Keep that last rock in the even end. Presumably, you should have it coming home. This to restore a 2-point lead. Nothing out of the brushers so far. Needs to just about bite the 4-foot. Lots of room. Not curling a ton yet.
Gonna have to get some breaks.
It heard you, I think.
Just enough.
It is 1 point for the Laycock team. So they get back to a 2-point lead now. It's 4-2 after 4 ends of play. Hirata will have last rock in the 5th.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardlines Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline, join the revolution.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed? More innovation?
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Scoreboard gets thinking, well, suddenly
Right.
I can see it,
Yeah.
nobody else can. Fifth end underway, and for the first time, we get to see the first stone of the end. These guys have been playing really quick, which, almost worth pointing out when you see two teams playing this fast. Worth pointing out, as much as they will have time clocks at some of their events this season, and certainly when they get into playdowns, no time clocks in use here in Martensville. These teams just playing fast on their own, which is a good habit to get into when you do have to play with clocks later on. That center guard is touching the line, so in the no-tick zone. And this time, Yoshia Miura looking to throw the corner guard. So we're going to start off and end here with two guards for the first time. This one could get interesting.
Yeah, it kind of signals to me that both teams are ready to get into it. Laycock maybe wants to put the game away here or put some pressure on Team Hirata. And obviously Hirata down on the scoreboard wants to climb back into this one.
Eight end games here in Martensville. It's important to note, because there are some, certainly as they go through playdowns and World Championship play, you'll see 10 end games as the norm, but you have to move a little quicker when you've only got 4 ends left to come back, for instance. Makes the come around to the top of the forefoot, but does stay mostly out in the open. Now, you do have to be careful if you're going to come at this with weight. This is one of the places I think myself where the no-tick zone has changed the game quite a bit. It's one thing to worry about taking the tick shot out, the shot that they played on purpose. But in years past, this would be a spot where you'd actually play kind of the accidental tick shot. You tight ice this and you make sure you make contact with one of them. Well, if you make contact with the guard here, it goes back and you lose your shooter. Good job on the brushers to get by. So it changes the way you have to call a shot like that. You can't just tight ice it anymore.
For sure, you got to go right after it.
And that always gives you the possibility. I mean, if you're going to miss it then, you miss it wide, you might go right by everything. It changes. It's for such a subtle thing. The potential for change is quite large. Now we're kind of back to that cat and mouse game that I was talking about earlier, and where the two teams are, and this goes back before the free guard zone. The team without Last Rock would like to play it in the middle. The team with Last Rock would like to play it on the corner. Here in the 5 Rock, they both got a guard to work with. It's just a question of who can get the role they're looking for first.
And I'm not surprised that Team Hirata is keeping it a little simpler and playing these hits and rolls. Because 5th end here, they wouldn't mind a blank, take the hammer into 6, try to get their deuce there. I think it's the kind of thing where they want to play an open deuce. Obviously, 2 here would be great, but they don't want to get forced. So keeping it simple, but taking an opportunity if it presents itself.
For sure. And of course, the Laycock team knew that too, and I think that's probably why the corner guard or the center guard came up to start the end. You remember a couple of ends ago, they brought everything into the rings.
Yeah.
I think if you come into the rings here, that just makes it easier for Hirata to perhaps get the blank, and they don't want to make it that easy for them.
For sure. Makes sense to me.
It's not just like a club game where you can just lob a rock over there anywhere. There's thought into all of these calls, right to the lead's first stone, as to where do we want this to try not to give the opposition what they want. And it's fun to watch how it plays out. We did see this spot, like they played a lot of these gentle hits 2 ends ago, and they struggled to get the line, even the draws. They were struggling to get the draws dead in behind cover and didn't get a lot of movement on these hits to the corner either. This same spot. Close to the roll this time. Well, Well, if it's not dead in behind cover, it's close. Might be able to see a sliver.
On a similar note to what you're saying with the center guard, you ever chase, try to chip that blue one out of the house, and if you're tight, you get the guard?
You could. I think what's probably convinced them not to do that, though, is just that particular spot looks a little straight, and there's the danger if you try to do that, you could go by both of them.
Totally fair, yep.
Going to play the run. They actually, it looked like they even talked about just straight coming around the red, and that would play back to what we were just talking about. They don't want to let them blank. Had to play that kind of safe. You saw them put the broom in the middle. Throw it hard. If it curls up, we'll just peel the guard, which is what they end up with. Kind of looks like Shawn Meacham and the Laycock team here is playing this, that if we have to give up 2, we'll do that so that we can have last rock in the extra, or in the 6th, and presumably again in the 8th. We're not going to give them a chance to blank this if we don't have to.
Right. And of course, avoid 3 at all costs. Don't want to give the lead back here.
Yeah, you do. That's one of Shawn's rules.
Yep.
You have to be a little careful anytime you're playing for a force. I've said it to teams I've coached and a few other teams. Anytime the opposition is trying to force you, be sure that you're on the lookout for the chance to let them force you to 3, because sometimes when you try to play a force in the free guard zone, it can get away from you. This end not setting up for that. There's only the one guard to work with, and it's a redstone belonging to the Laycock team on the center line, so not as much danger for them now. Double is probably there. Braden Stewart throws it hard enough. Little unfortunate there, just across the top of it, touches it, but shooter continues on, so Hirata's still sitting 1.
That was tough to do. That just shows you how lively these rocks are, that you can roll over top such a thick double like that.
He's a hair thinner on the first one. He comes across with a little more weight. Might have been able to kill the second blue one. Even if he just comes into it and stays for shot rock, it changes this call. Now, Hirata a chance to come around the guard. Lots of room by the guard. A lot of weight as well, and he will slide to the back 4-foot. Did get a piece in behind cover. If he's going to try the double, he'd have to come off the other stone. It's very flat. Shawn's looking at the freeze.
A bit of risk there.
There is.
I wouldn't be so worried about the weight. As long as you're in front of the blue, you're good. But if you over curl or under curl, it could leave the chance for 3.
Granted, that last stone was to the back 4-foot, but I was a little surprised that it didn't curl more than that. When the turn going away from the center line has been a little straighter, you just would assume that this one's going to go.
Yeah, really. Could have slid back, with some extra speed if it doesn't have that curl to take some of the weight off of it as it's coming down the ice. That would have been part of it there.
Both brushers are on this for a bit. Still got lots of room by the guard.
Nice spot.
Really didn't finish big that time either. He sits on top of the blue stone. He is shot rock. Looks like the red stone is probably just fully exposed. This is one where for Hirata, he needs to get down to the nose with enough weight to break the freeze that's there, even if he loses the back blue one, just to make sure that he's got a way to get the red one out on his next one.
For sure, key setup shot here.
If he can get to the inside of that red ever so slightly, he doesn't have to move the blue very far to free up a path for the red. He could be sitting shot 3rd and 4th after this, with that red queued up to go. Now, the only problem is with that little bit extra weight that he's going to need about back 12 weight anyway, and they did take less ice, but will this curl? And so far, a long ways out. Probably more room by the guard than either of the last two, and he had to have more weight. Breaks the freeze, but he rolls off it in the direction that will allow Shawn a chance to make a play on it.
Not out of the woods yet. Gotta make a roll. At least behind the guard, even too far. If anything.
How much risk do you want to take on? Do you even have to hit it?
Yeah, I was just thinking
they talked about drawing the top 4. That's tough because we haven't seen anything move. But if you throw the exact same draw you just threw and stay queued up on the broom side of the red stone you just threw on your first, how do you get that? How do you ever get that out?
Yeah.
You can't. You'd have the force.
I wouldn't be so inclined if it was, fresh throwing that spot, but he just threw it. So the draw is definitely an option here.
Just threw it. The hits aren't automatic on this site by any means. If you ever hit it on the nose, you've left a double for 3. So
even if you roll, you might get unlucky and set up some sort of in-off double for yourself.
So they're playing the hit. And you saw the gesture from Braden Stewart in the house, and I think what they're looking at is if they're a little thin on the first one, you can touch the top of the one at the back of the 4-foot, move it towards the stone at the back, and still spin up in behind cover. Really important to get a roll here. Did touch his own a little bit.
Nice shot.
Yeah, that worked okay. He rolled well out in the open, but any attempt at the double is just going to jam on the blue stone at the back of the 8. So no shot for 2 there. He's going to play the draw for 1. Threw a backline attempt on his last one. He's going to have to bring a little bit of weight off this. And he is back to the same broom that they had for the cold draw.
You always got to be careful in your own mind as the thrower. There is backing here, but that's the sweeper's job.
Yeah.
not you. You throw to the backing with probably some curling in this spot.
Yeah, with this spot, I think you hit the nail on the head. If you throw to the backing, I don't think the line's ever going to get there. Because the shot he just attempted where he was tapping, he had about a foot less ice. Brusher's just cleaning it. Looks to be curling. Well, he rubs off it a little bit and I think rolled too far.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
It'll be a steal of 1. Steve Laycock's team with a 5-2 lead here after 5 ends of play. Hirata will have last rock again in the 6th.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardlines Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Don't forget the brooms.
Yep, you got it.
Come on up. What do you got? You got one, you got two, you got
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock.
Shawn, Joyce, Ryan, Jacques with you here in the SaskTel Curling Stadium Martensville SaskTour Series. It's quarterfinals here on Sunday morning. Laycock team now leading by 3. Hirata with, I don't know how to describe it, a little bit of a miscue on his final stone, deliberately playing a tap on his first. Still a little heavy on that last stone, and they were cleaning most of the way down, even inside the hog line. He's actually lucky it didn't roll far enough to give up 2. Gives up the steal of 1, but you know, Ryan, it didn't look like they were worried. We talked about this a little in the break. It didn't look like they were worried about the weight all the way down. You just wonder if they had realized it was that heavy. There are a lot of teams that would have swept for curl to get to the backing. They didn't do that either. So I think they always thought on the way down that the weight looked good, and it's just a little strong.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I wonder if they also could have thought that the line was good for backing and they were just cleaning it right to the back one, but it turned out it didn't like that extra finish. So
Yeah, there just hadn't been
sure
big.
which one, but something happened in that one.
Hadn't been big finish in that spot all end. I was surprised that they took as much ice as they did. Admittedly, he threw a tap on the first one, so they were going to want a little bit more ice than that. But that was the same ice that they'd taken on every draw all end, and nothing had been close to the guard yet.
Well, you live and you learn, but the quarterfinals of an event is not the ideal place to.
We talked about it before he threw it. If you throw to the backing in that spot because it doesn't finish that big, you could go by it, and he almost did. He was fortunate that it was only a steal of 1. But again, it wasn't just the throw, because the way they swept it, it kind of looked like they thought he was okay. Never made an effort to sweep for curl. So it's going to make for a messy end here. You see the Laycock team has one in the rings through the guard, which they didn't get quite lined up. So looking to bring another one to that center now, and Hirata already has 2 corner guards thrown up. He needs some rocks in play now. He's going to have to play aggressively for a score here in 6. You have to think he needs at least 2, and in the 5 rock free guard zone, opportunities for 3 will present themselves.
No, we've got 4 guards up here. That's not something you see very often.
No.
Typically, you'd see the team without hammer being up 3, just waiting for a curling zone score update here. But up 5-2, and get 2 in the house, plug it up. But a little bit of risk being taken on by Laycock here with 2 guards early in the end.
Hirata's first thought was to try to corner freeze that red, which is great call. I'm just not sure how you make it on that reverse stagger. It's not going to look good from the hacks, and I think that might have been the suggestion from the other end. Might have been, I don't think we can make that, so let's go around our corners, which is, good call here. You've got double corners. Why not use them?
Yep, you put them there for a reason.
Well, and with so much mess in the middle, it's unlikely that Shawn Meacham will try a double peel, even if they were closer together. You'd hate to run something into your red. Nothing wrong with being deep on that either. It's, you know, the old adage is you're coming around the corners, let's make sure there's room to get 2 in there. You don't really expect Shawn Meacham to chase around the corner. If he does, you're happy with that. So that's fine. The key there is just to get dead buried, and he is.
Yep. We're getting into it here.
Yep. Shawn has taken the approach of, well, we've got Shot Rock buried in the 4-foot. Let's force him to do some work to open that up.
If Team Hirata can ever get that one out, oh boy.
Looking for the really long guard here, but they'd like to get it all onto the white ice, because if it stays on the blue ice, it comes off. Great job by the brushers to get that over the hog line. Wow, that would be an aggressive call, and I'm not so sure it's possible with that long guard to come around the corners again. Did you catch that?
That would be pretty juicy right now.
Did you catch that little gesture, Ryan?
I did not.
Hirata was pointing at. It's possibly one of the reasons why he's not that panicked about opening the middle. He's got the long corner guard that he figures he can run in towards Shot Rock.
Oh, wow.
When he gestured at it, I don't think there's any chance he was thinking we play it now. I think he's looking at it as we've always got that.
Yeah.
Boy, that draw looks tough now with the center guard that just, he's looking at coming around the corner again, but after that center guard that was just thrown that is so high, by the time you're by the center, it's hard to get by the one that's tight to the rings. I'm surprised if he wants to play a draw that he's not looking at the wide out turn. It's the easiest way to get there.
Show a little piece, set up the angle, and go from there.
And I'm not convinced you need to play the draw. The rest of the team looking at maybe it's time to open things up a little bit. You can play they're looking at the long guard across the top of the widest red guard. Try to get at least 2 moving. Should be coming back into the house if you get that right. You might even get the shot stone moving. Neither of these ports for draws looks good.
Yeah, for me, alarm bells are going off in my head. If I was in this situation, you're kind of 2 shots away from getting at that red rock in the 4-foot. So it's time to start blasting. Give yourself a chance.
It's always a case when you start looking at drawing through reverse stagger ports like this. It's never, be it the skip or anybody else talking about it, it's never the guy that has to throw it that wants to call this shot.
Yep.
It doesn't look good to whoever has to throw this shot.
You don't need to break the bank here. 2 gets you a long way. Gets you right back into it.
It does. I can certainly understand him wanting to keep the chance for 3 alive. That's, you play the blue angle in now, and if you don't make it, Shawn's going to get rid of your other corner guard, and now 3's pretty much out of the question.
Yeah.
I think when they're looking at the corner run in now, you saw Usui suggests that if we're going to miss it, we miss it thin, and then we clip the 2 red guards closest to the house as well. That's a possibility.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hirata wanted to draw, and after all the discussion, they're going to stick with that. It's interesting. The only guy that didn't make his way down to the other end is the guy that has to try to draw through this port. And it's probably there because it doesn't look like there's a big finish, but it can't look good to whoever's in the hacks.
Looking really nice here. They got the weight.
Tight to the red one, tight to the blue one, but buy them both.
Whew. Let's take another look at that one. That was a beautiful shot.
Brushes were really on this early too. And for the line caller, that's not a comfortable line call because you know you're still on the red guard at that point in time, but because of that reverse stagger, you kind of had to take that chance. Ended up tight to both of them, and that is buried. It's gone. Creates a problem now for the Laycock team. He's looking at coming around, trying to come through the port the other direction to get another one in the rings behind center. You're at the point now where rocks in the rings aren't helping you as much anymore. Second, the best guard might be second shot. How do you get it in there?
No.
You
Since
could chase.
Laycock's sitting shot rock right now as well, he could just play that wide out turn, put another one in the 8 foot. So.
Could. Nobody seems to want to play that. I have to wonder if maybe they think it's a little straighter out there. He could try to follow that down and sit on the corner of the one that was just thrown. It's not easy.
No.
And I don't think there's a good rub on a guard. I guess maybe if you rub the blue guard and still get into the rings, that might be okay. You can't rub the red one.
Well, the trouble is if you rub the tight blue guard, push it to the left, now all of a sudden he's got an even shorter angle run back. Got to worry about that as well.
Yeah, although it would be thin.
Yeah, I'm still leaning towards that out turn draw. You don't need to have good line on it. It's, you even put it fully wide open back 8.
Yeah.
Hirata's got 2 rocks to deal with now. This is very precise.
Yeah, nobody seems to want to play that side. Same situation. I mean, this draw is probably there just based on what we've seen of the ice, but it can't look good from the hacks. That reverse stagger, it's in your head that if it's curling as it goes by the blue guard, you're going to have a hard time getting by the red one. Nothing out of the brushers so far. This is still on the blue guard. They're looking for curl now.
It's all over the blue here.
Now he might get a 4th guard out of it. Kind of does. There's more room towards the middle now.
That red might be the safest rock that I've ever seen. If it weren't for the corner guard run back.
If it weren't so lonely, you'd be happy with it, but that's the problem right now. And now there's definitely room to make the in-turn draw to try to get to the corner of that shot stone. That seemed to be Hirata's first thought. He's still got a couple of teammates that would like to move some guards. The danger now in running the long red guard into the other collection of 3 reds closer to the rings, it's hard not to end up moving the one that's biting the center line back towards the 2 blues in the rings.
Yeah. One interesting thing here now, the way those 2 red guards are lined up, I wonder if we see Team Laycock play that splash, queued up right towards that. Really in the 8 foot, I think.
Yeah.
Just keep it safe, but it also opens up the red one.
It would open up shot rock.
Well, I know one thing for sure. I mean, we know why these 2 teams were playing quick earlier in the game, so they'd have time to do this. Lots to think about here.
So trying to play this is risky. Trying to play it looks like the double peel on the reds and have his shooter spin up out of the way. The problem is that red on the center line is going to be coming back in the direction, at least, of the blues in the rings. think presumably you're trying to hit the other one first and thick, and then you should maybe kick the other one past the blues. He's going to hit the first one real thick.
Yeah.
Might just push the second one into the rings. Didn't even push it that far. Works out.
Well, look what he blocked now.
Yeah, well, the in-turn path is gone, yeah.
Well, and that angle run back he was looking at earlier, too.
His shooter's fully open, though. He's got the angle run on the shooter.
I guess he's got a new one now,
yeah.
That's true.
It's a little closer.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. Stewart looking to guard shot rock here, and this is still on the outside one, so they're going to have to be careful. You could look at the replay all day, and I'm not sure if I could tell whether that touched or not, but the way it moved at the end, I think it had to.
Yeah.
Ends up in a pretty good spot. He's got a sliver underneath the long guard, so Hirata can't peel it out on the side that he'd like to. Looking at the double peel now again. If you try to peel it direct.
I think there's a bit of danger here.
There's a lot of danger. He's looking at the double peel on the reds, but boy, by the time you're by the first red, the one that they just rubbed off, you might already be too thick on the second one. And if you're thick on the second one, it's coming into a blue one in the rings.
Yeah.
Wants this really thin, wants to catch two reds, does. Bonus, he moves the rock in the rings. Maybe the bad part of the bonus, he moves it in behind the corner guard a little bit.
And now you might see Laycock draw. That's a lonely red. Just get another one in behind. Play the out turn through the hole. Sit two. It's not so lonely. I wonder if they give that a go.
One more look at this, and it was so thin on the first one. You can see as it's coming into the second red stone. Look where he hits the first one, like a quarter of a stone, which is enough to catch the second one. If you hit that thicker, it misses the second stone and into the blue ones in the rings. So, risky shot, but a great made shot there for the Hirata team. And now Shawn Meacham's in a tough spot here. He's looking to come in, and that stone that's in the rings right now, shot rock, is probably 3/4 open. Granted, it's a reverse stagger port, but if you're going to throw some weight at it, okay, he's not looking to come in. He's looking to guard the port, because if you come in, it's tough to not leave a double. That might have been part of the conversation. So how do we get this buried for second shot without leaving him a double?
Well, it all comes back to those two guards that they threw earlier in this end on the center line. That red was well protected for a while, but there were a lot of rocks to come. He could get burned here. That slash is there all day.
The first guard that they had out there was a rock's width off the center line, and you just wonder, had they gotten that one better positioned, would they even have thrown the second one, or would they have come around again?
Right.
So it just goes to show. I mean, we're talking back to lead stones, but it really matters. It's not an area play. It's got to be to a spot.
Even though it didn't come over, I wonder if they could have just bit the bullet and come into the house, even though it leaves a hit and roll.
Well, you could have, yeah.
Just keep things a little simpler. It could work out. I think it's either going to be a 3 or more or a steal here.
This is kind of all or nothing if you're playing it on the first stone. I mean, I guess it's all or nothing if you play it on the last one too, but if you don't make it on the first one, I don't know what you're going to have left with your last one. You could always
long and go run back on the high corner.
I'm looking at the double peel, but I don't think you can make it. To make the double peel, you'd want to get to the center line side of the stone that Shawn just threw and try to clip the second one and have it come straight back. You can't play the double the other way, or red's coming into the rings the wrong direction.
I think they settled on the straight run back here, red onto red.
Yeah. And the reason you play this now as opposed to playing the blue one, like I said, if you play the blue one and you don't make contact with anything, you're not going to have a shot for your last one. If you play this one and miss it, Shawn's still got to throw a guard, and you've still got that angle raise on your last one for 3.
Well, you might see, if he has a good draw count, see them just try to lob another red one into the house. So they have to make a run double instead of a...
Yeah, you could.
One rock.
Certainly could, because the edge of that stone is still going to be buried, even if this is made. Harder to leave a double with the guard that he's peeling here.
For sure, yeah.
It's likely why they threw the guard on the second one, so they wouldn't leave a double. This is going to change the angles a bit. Makes the run, catches the stone in the rings, and it does leave.
Made it look easy.
So Hirata sitting 2 now. And Shawn's looking at the angle run. Red guard into the blues in the rings. You know, so precise to play a run back like that when it's your opponent's stone. You got to kill it and roll the raised stone out, and probably had to make sure that he hit it on the side that he did, because if he hit it that much off the nose on the other side, the run back stone comes into that blue at the back 12 foot.
I'll put some pressure on here, that's for sure.
Yeah, it would be a tough draw to go out wide around everything, so he's going to play the angle on the red. If he puts it into either one of those blues, he's probably happy. But there might be room to get it onto shot rock and leave it buried behind a wall of granite. I heard gotta curl a ton. It's still on the blue. And he wasn't playing this as a hit.
Oh.
He played that with the draw weight.
At least they got the blue out there.
Yeah.
I was a bit worried when it made contact.
Well, and the other bad part about that is with his shooter rolling over, he's actually probably left a little bit more room for the draw.
Yeah.
He's still got to go out wide.
So for any impressionable junior players watching, this is the danger of junking it up when you have the lead. All it takes is one really good shot from the other team to put you behind the 8 ball.
Final stone of the 6th end. Hirata has trailed since giving up 3 in the second. Here's his chance to get that 3 back, and we could be tied up here after 6. He's got 2 already, needs any piece of the paint. Does have to throw wide to get by the guards. Speed might be a little different out here. Heavy on his draw last end resulted in his steal. He's a little heavy on this one again, and through the back. Missed opportunity there. He will pick up 2, but had the chance to tie the game. He's now going to trail by 1 going into the 7th, and Team Laycock will have last rock.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed? More innovation?
It's gonna make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like 1 more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Well, missed opportunity for Kohsuke Hirata with his final stone, a chance to draw for 3. Did have to go wide. We don't know whether he was maybe guessing that it was going to be a little heavier out there. We talked about it a little bit during the break, Ryan. I can't remember seeing a draw out that wide. There might have been a couple of hits, so there would have been some guesswork involved in the draw weight there. The other thing that was interesting, I thought, and I don't know whether you saw this or not, but Braden Stewart had already made his way out to the hog line. He was discussing, they were already talking about the next end. And as that rock came across the hog line, Braden realized, this looks a little heavy. And he walked back to the tee line to get ready to sweep it through and just got it out the back. So you will see that once in a while in some of these events. So much of the play in today's game is dictated. It goes to the middle. So you start getting later on in the game, you might hear the term fudge referred to or flattening out. You start going towards the middle, and there's not as much pebble there, and those rocks will slow down. And then when you have to throw one in a wider path like that, that rock just kept sliding. There was good pebble out there, and it just kept sliding through the back. Now, I don't know if we've been expecting fudge here. This is the first draw I've done, but you see it happen from time to time, and it certainly can catch guys when they have to draw wider and they don't get into that path where the pebble has started to flatten out. Well, they've got 3 up on the board. Did it stop in time? It must have. It looked like it went through the back.
Huh.
I thought it looked like it went through the back. Maybe it stopped just in time.
I'm going to have to go back to YouTube and rewatch that. Yeah, wow. That changes everything.
It does. Makes for an interesting setup to this end because the Laycock team would love to blanket, but going back to what we said just a little while ago, you get a team that's trying so hard to force you, you have to be open to the opportunity that they might force you to 3. Because the other side of the coin here for Hirata, he does not want to see a blank end here. He'd take 1 point on the board either way, quite frankly. Two center guards well positioned. This is the 5th rock at the end to come here, so Peels can start after this. Ryota Meguro looking to come down and sit on the face of the red and maybe jiggle things a little bit, but he's got to stay. Tell you what, I just watched the replay on YouTube, and I still think it was through.
I'm almost there.
I feel like and you couldn't tell from the overhead because Braden was over top of it sweeping, but it may be that it stopped and he conceded the point and kicked it, because it definitely looks like it went through, but maybe it had some help. Bit of a mistake here. Did not want to rub that guard for sure. Now, this conversation has to be going back to what I just said. You know that Hirata is going to try to force you here. You've already got two in a pretty good spot. The guards are no longer lined up. Do you let him force you to three? You could just peel the guard here, and it wouldn't be that hard to get back to a blank situation now. You're awfully non-committal there, Ryan.
Yeah. So we're watching the replay one more time.
Oh, you're still peeking.
Yeah.
This, and that's why Shawn made his way down. Like, it is a spot where they could play for the blank here now, but I'm actually surprised if they're peeling that this is the guard they're peeling. Although the other one is protecting their own, it's the one on center line. It's the more dangerous guard.
Because I'm not sure what I love here. You could split the house, try to load it up, because Hirata's got some work to do to put those reds out of the way. But even with the peel, they have some work to do. It's kind of a deuce or blank situation if you peel. So I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, this run call surprises me a little bit.
Yeah, just taking another look at last end. Yeah, it looks to me like it slides right through the house. The players would know better than us.
You could definitely see white by the time it was done, but I maybe once it stopped, Braden said three and kicked it through, and it just all happened fast enough that you couldn't see it on the camera angle that we're at. That was the problem with the run attempt, because you lose the run back stone. You made the double, but how is this not a blank end now?
Yeah. That center guard is going to be gone in a second here.
You're going to be hard pressed one way or the other, because if you make the run where you stick the blue that you're running back, your shooter's rolling off center. Made the peel on the guard, not able to get the shooter all the way out of play. It's not protecting much. This is one where I think you have to throw the center guard, but not as tight as what he was just calling. I'd be throwing this up really long and leave the possibility that jams on one of those two stones on the corner and comes back a little tighter. So far from what we've seen of this ice, and I don't know what it's been like all weekend. A lot of times with these rocks, if they condition them before the event, by the time we get to playoffs, they may have started to straighten out a little bit. But so far from what we've seen today, you actually could use a long guard come around it. It's not as easy to come around those long guards as it is on some ice with some rocks. By coming tight, he's made the peel path really easy. There's nothing to jam on.
Yeah, especially on thirds first, it surprised me a bit. Ooh.
Gets enough of it to push it past the edge of the rings. Now it is still a rock in play. Hirata, if that's all he's got left, will probably try to tuck around those two blues on the edge with his last one. But again, back to, we've seen a number of draws attempted on that side, maybe not quite that wide out towards the corner, and nothing has moved real big. So it's not going to be easy to get behind there. If it's all he's got to work with, he'll try it. I still think it would be tempting, to me at least, to put those guards higher so that he doesn't have as clear a path to peel the corner guard and roll out. that must have been a question, can they roll into the rings? And I think,
I don't know if you want to.
Well, I think the reasoning there is if you can roll into the rings, Hirata can't throw another guard. He's going to have to hit it. And then you're just exchanging hits for the blank.
Come around it as well. If you're only rolling to the mid-8 line, he might just think one around there, try to force you that way. So
he could,
be conscious of that too.
Based on what I've seen of this ice, I don't think he would. It just doesn't look like that would go today to that corner anyway.
Yeah.
There's some movement in some other spots, but it doesn't look like that in-turn towards the corner going away. They just haven't had much movement there so far in this game. Playing the straight peel on the guard. Bigger piece this time. Hirata's going to look to tuck around that corner right now. That looks like, to me, way too much ice to have any chance to bury.
Yeah, that's almost 6 feet of ice.
Yeah.
If you want to make it real good.
And if you're really going to play this, you have to give it a solid go. I mean, if you end up wide open in the 12-foot on this, Shawn Meacham's just going to hit and roll to the center line. You're going to have to exchange hits, and it's a blank. If you're going to play this, you may as well play aggressively to try to get in there. And I haven't seen anything move 5 feet yet in this game. So this is this, and in particular in this spot, this looks like a ton of ice.
For sure. There's a time and a place to add in some extra tolerance or play it safe, but this is not one of those shots. You gotta go for it.
No, you're just going to make it easier for, you put this in the rings wide open, you just make it easier for Shawn to make sure. If you're well out in the open here, you're better off to be short of the house. Yeah, it's just nowhere near those stones on the corner yet. They're going to have to get this right back to the back 12 to bury a sliver of it, I think. And they're not going to. Fully in the open with some daylight.
Yeah, just like you said.
If this was earlier in the game and you were trying to score 2, you might try to roll behind the corner guards. But I think here, Shawn Meacham will just roll towards the middle, try to exchange hits and have his blank. Don't think you want to nose it. They're even suggesting they might just peel it out.
I think it's like sooner peel than nose.
Yeah, for sure. But I think they're back to the original call. It's just hit and roll to the middle. Overswept maybe a little bit. They were careful to make sure that they didn't get to the nose. With that quiet weight, he's able to hold the shooter at the back of the 12-foot. I'm sure there are teams out there that wouldn't hit this rock.
You could come down and freeze to it.
You could freeze to it, yeah.
That would be an amazing result.
Well, I mean, you'd have to have had the discussion, like, are you better off here to give up 2 or the blank? Like, if you give up 2, you've still got last rock coming home. If you're fairly confident you can get your deuce with the 3 rock or 5 rock free guard zone, 3s happen. I mean, they had a chance for 3 in the last end.
For sure.
As soon as you hit it, you assume this is going to be a blank, and now you're kind of up against it in the last end, albeit to be fair, with the no-tick zone, the team with last rock statistically still has the edge, but it's as close to 50-50 as it's ever been.
I guess another thing to keep in mind, like if you give up 2 here, then you have to get 2 back, and then you're still in the same position as if
you
gave up the blank. So,
well, if you only get the 2, but if you get 3 and 8, you win, and that's why I say there are teams that would have played that freeze there. And I mean, if you put it absolutely perfectly on the face,
yeah,
he's still going to try a shot for the blank, but things can go wrong with that. So we can discuss it all day. There's lots of ways to play it. That's one of the things that makes the game interesting these days. As it is, we get a blank, we're all tied up. 7 ends has decided nothing. Team Laycock had last rock when we started, and they will have it once again in the 8th.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
SaskTel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? We award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and prevent bullying. What great idea do you have to help stop bullying? SaskTel can help. Go to BeKindOnline.com and apply for a grant today. Together, we can make a difference.
Shawn, Joyce, Ryan, Jacques with you here from the SaskTel Curling Stadium Martensville SaskTour Series event playoffs here Sunday morning. Tied up as we begin the 8th end, and that first center guard is touching the center line, so in the no-tick zone. Braden Grindam looking to come around and get to the top of the button, maybe a little bit deeper than they would have liked, but it is still mostly in front of the tee line. Had to figure the second guard was coming here regardless. That's the call. So Yoshia Miura looking to throw, this time the very high guard. Both brushers down right away. Well, they backed away a bit now. It's got a lot of room and looks like it has plenty of weight. Sweeping, if anything, for a little bit of curl now. He wants to touch the center line. Did not. It is a little bit long. You could play the tick. You maybe feel you don't have to. Looking at coming around to the face of their own. And I think trying to decide which turn. That guard that was just thrown, because there's not as much curl on this ice as maybe there was earlier in the weekend. If he has to go wide by that guard, he might not be able to get to the face of his own. So they're going to play it this time from the out turn side. Nice line by the guard. Oh, that's a really nice draw. Comes down, sits right on the face of his own stone. That will put some pressure on the Hirata team. They're going to have to to move those stones twice to be able to get shot rock. You can move the back one on the first one. You still have to move the other one. And while you're doing that, the Laycock team will have a chance to peel the guard. So this could be a question of timing. You'll make the first tap back now. You'll see Shawn Meacham go up and peel a guard, and he might just opt to peel the closest one to the rings. Hirata might have to replace the guard for a few before he makes a play into the house. Got a nice line. Needs to have enough weight to move the shot stone. I don't know if he's got enough. Well, he moved it to just behind the pin. So he's probably got enough room on the in-turn now to get to shot rock.
That would be a good spot.
Chris Heikert now, second stone's looking for the double peel.
Oh, no.
I don't know whether you're old enough to remember Bugs Bunny cartoons, but those are the ones where I like to quote the immortal words of Marvin the Martian when he said, "Where was the kaboom?" There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom. Went by everything.
It's a tough one. You can't do that there. Sooner knows that. You can still get the double peel.
Well, I don't know if you would. I'm still surprised. I'm surprised he didn't just peel the tighter guard. Like the situation in the house is still not good for Hirata. They didn't really move the first one far enough. When they move this again, they're still going to leave a red on the top of the button. Shot rock. So they're going to need to move it a third time. Well, if you peel the center guard, they're not hiding when they get shot rock.
Right.
That guard they were going after first wasn't really covering anything.
I suppose they could have gotten really unlucky and stuffed the double peel and run it right into the pile.
Well, yeah.
Hirata's job for them in moving the red.
Still didn't move it far enough.
Yeah.
Well, now it's less harmful to move this blue one. I wouldn't have liked moving it on the last one because it would have opened up the draw path to freeze. Now the freeze doesn't do them any good either. I think you could just straight peel this one for now and you're okay. So Hirata still has to move the reds twice to get access to the pinhole. They haven't had enough weight on any attempts that they've made so far. You're moving 3 stones and one of them has to go to the back 4-foot to leave room for the next one to go far enough on the next attempt.
And now there's not very much room there, and it's a fairly straight spot here.
Yeah.
Really close to the guard.
Still doesn't have the weight.
Wow, yeah, he got pretty close to the center guard and still wrecked on the wide one. It's a tough spot to work with.
I still think you peel in the center guard, although you could make a play on the blues in the rings easy enough.
I don't know. I think you let Team Hirata do that. Because again, like you said, they still got to move it twice.
Yeah.
There's some blues in the top of the house, which is nice, but I don't see how they're going to set up a decent chance for a steal here because those are so grouped together.
Well, and everything that's angled to go into the reds is still angled to go on the angle where that first red is going to dead jam on the second one. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah. It's an interesting call here. Looks like they're trying to slash the furthest right blue out of there as well.
Yeah, that'd be the bonus. If you straight peel the guard here, I don't think you'd be unhappy with that.
For sure.
That blue over there right now, if the guards weren't in play, if there was no guard at all, you could actually come off that blue to kill the other blues in the top of the 8-foot. So it's not hurting you.
They played it the correct way, the tolerance. I'd hate to nose that. Now Hirata's looking really good for a steal. It's a good shot. Does the main job.
3 stones left to come. He's got to move the ones in the house twice. Yeah, I understand what he's thinking about playing a guard. I just don't think he can.
I might do it one more time just to delay Team Laycock, even though he's not here. Team Meacham having a chance to blast the pile there. Like basically just guard and maybe 2 takeouts and just hope he's shooting against 2. But like I said, Shawn, this might be the time to start moving things around. Maybe a more finesse tap, set up a nice freeze later. Yeah, you just had to make one of those taps earlier. Get yourself in a position.
They got great line on those. They just didn't have enough weight. You needed, and I get it. You know, certainly in a situation like this, a team that's trying to steal it, you don't want to overthrow a rock for sure, but you were trying to move 3 stones, and you had to, in order to create enough room to get shot rock, you had to move the first one to the back 4 foot. Well, that means out of your hand, moving 3, you probably got to have through weight, which you just don't want to throw that hard when you're trying to steal.
Kind of like what we were saying last end when they were coming around the really wide rock and trying to get a piece of the 12 foot there. Sometimes there's not much tolerance. You just gotta go for the make. The pro side miss generally would be light on those taps, but maybe not on the A10 when you really need to steal.
Yeah, because every time they were short, it gave the Laycock team a chance to walk up and peel another guard.
Yeah. And this is even the situation with the flashed peel. It'd be even worse if they had made that first peel.
So I think the call here, straight peel. I don't think they'll try to catch the one in the 8 foot at all this time. So you're liable to bring it back and touch one of those red stones if you did that.
Yeah, I like the call. Just keep it simple. Hirata's got some work to do.
So you definitely have to move the back red one now. The question will be how far. They'd love to leave it, just nibbling the back of the 4 foot if they could. But now you're moving 4 rocks to do that. Well, to move 4 rocks and leave it just nibbling the back of the 4 foot, you got to have almost hack weight.
I think the key here is to try to keep some of the blues lined up onto that top red one.
That'll be the other trick.
Yeah.
Because the first 2 blues are dead in line. So when you tap blue onto the red, that second blue that makes contact with the red is going to, if we look at the overhead, it's going to kick left a little bit. It almost doesn't matter how you hit this. Well, I mean, if you hit it well off the center line and tried to drag, you could do that. But then you're going to spread out all the blue rocks, and there's going to have to be some kind of double left. He needs to hit this close to the nose.
I wonder if you want to hit it on the nose with quite a bit of weight, roll the blue out of the way. It's hard to say exactly what the best result is here.
Well, that's an option. It doesn't look like that's what they're going with this much ice. They're looking to move it quieter, but it's hard to really want to blow things up here where you need to steal. I'd like to hit it somewhere in line. The question is going to be, how do the 3 blues line up after this is done?
For sure.
Boy, he's tight. This is well inside the broom.
Could hold nicely in this spot.
Yep, they've held it.
But there may be a triple left here. Pretty good.
And it did kick. Well, I mean, there's a triple on the Blues if you want to make them.
I guess the question is, does it drag, though, if you hit it on the center line side to make that triple?
I'm not sure you have to hit it.
Stay in the 4-foot.
Yeah, I'm not sure you have to hit it on the center line side. I don't think it ever drags enough in that short distance to miss the Blue at the top of the 8. Or top of 4, pardon me.
Yeah, and these rocks are super alive. It might be tough to get that top 8 rock out if you get on the left side.
Well, yes, it might be tough to kill it.
Don't worry about that. Just get it out of the way.
If you get it a foot off the center line, it's not a factor, right?
Yeah.
There's an interesting discussion as well. Is do we even need to hit the Blues? They could just hit. They could hit the Blue out by itself in the 8-foot. Because if you could just leave those 3 Blues that are there, he doesn't have angle for anything. The Blues go kind of past the red. It's really tough to make a play on that Blue stone without disturbing something. You don't want to stay right there. You'd leave red onto blue onto red.
Yeah, and that's big trouble.
You either have to get to the inside, which case you're probably disturbing the Blues, or hit it just far enough on the outside to roll out, which would be tough. So they're going to stick to the original thought. Hit broom side hard. You'll kill 2 Blues for sure, and they're hoping that the top one will kick far enough off the center line. That's the path you see Braden Stewart cleaning now. They just need to get it a good foot or so off center line. Yes, Kohsuke's going to have a direct shot at shot rock, but he's going to have nothing to hide behind. Shawn Meacham throws the big weight, and that'll be what he calls on here. Might have got this a little tighter than he would have liked. He's going to make the contact. It does with that lively rock. Spill it a good foot off the center line. So shot rock now belongs to Team Laycock, wide open on the button. Second and third belonging to Hirata, but no place to hide. One more look at the big weight. You know, I'm not entirely sure. Like, he still hit a good solid half a rock. If he catches that a little thinner, might have even had the top one leave the rings. Shouldn't matter. Hirata will try to roll under the blue, probably the one that was just pushed over there, and he'll only have about half a rock in the 4-foot if he makes the roll perfect. If he nose hits it, Shawn will be able to play a hit with his last one. If he rolls too far, he probably has the option to play the hit on the stone that's fully in the 8-foot as well. If he makes the draw perfect, it'll be a draw attempt. Kohsuke Hirata with his final stone here in the 8th end. Lost his opening 2 games, rattled off 3 in a row. Going to need to find a way to steal this 8th end in order to move on to the semifinals. This has got a curl. Makes the hit, actually rolls the shorter direction behind his own stone in the 8-foot, but just out of the 4.
A pretty sweet shot.
Yeah, I don't think that was the roll they were playing off the call. I think they were trying to go behind the other one and get a bigger piece of the 4-foot, but they forced the draw here, and that's all you can do. Force Shawn Meacham to throw a draw in the 8th end where he needs to get a piece of the 4-foot. That's interesting. This is the same spot a few ends ago where we saw a draw come heavy, and you see that the ice that Shawn's got here is a little tighter. So he's not as worried about shouldn't have to worry as much about the line here.
Oh, they jumped it early. It's really got a curl here.
It's still well on that blue stone.
Wow.
Not going to get by. It'll be a steal of 2, actually, and after losing his first 2, Kohsuke Hirata rattles off 3 in a row to get into the playoffs and steals the 8th end here against the Laycock team. He will move on to the semifinal this afternoon, scheduled for start in about 45 minutes' time. We will have all of the action for you, all of the games, streaming for the rest of the weekend on the SaskTel Curling Stadium, Martensville. It's the SaskTour Series playoffs. Quarterfinals this morning. We've got semis coming up this afternoon. All of the games available on the Curling Stadium. The selected few will have full commentary, although I think it's full commentary on all of the games now from here on in. And the final schedule. Final schedule for 3:30 this afternoon. So a lot of action yet to come this afternoon. My name is Shawn Joyce. Ryan Jacques has joined me here for this broadcast, and we look forward to seeing you all back for the semifinal in about 45 minutes.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. SaskTel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sasktel.com/sponsorships.